Hiya, my name's Emily, and thank you for joining me on today's lesson on expanding double brackets for GCSE Maths. So, first things first, I want you to take note of the image on the screen. This may seem completely irrelevant right now, but it will become extremely relevant later. So I want you to start having a think about why this image might be relevant as I'm introducing the topic. Now, the prerequisite or prior knowledge that is required for this topic is stuff that we've gone over in previous lessons, but I just want to double check you feel 100% comfortable with all of these before we move on. If you don't feel comfortable, no problem at all. We can take some time going over those before we take on the next step, because it doesn't make sense to start the next one unless we're completely comfortable with what we've done before. So, this is being comfortable with expanding single brackets, being comfortable with collecting like terms and simplifying expressions, and being comfortable with adding and multiplying negative numbers. So again, if there's anything that you want to just go over again before we move on to the next step, then please let me know. That's no problem, we can be flexible. Again, I want you to take a note of the image on the screen and have another further think about why this might become relevant. So, let's take a first look at our first double bracket. So here you can see on the left we've got x plus 2 and x minus 1 here. Now the question will say something like expand and simplify. So as you can see, what we have here is a two-step question, so it's really important that we make sure we do it in two separate parts and that it's clear to the examiner that you've done it in your two steps, because that's where your marks come in. So we've got a two-step question. What I would always recommend to people that they do is highlight or circle. We'll use yellow because everyone loves yellow. Oh, gosh, sorry, not using this right. Oh. Expand and simplify. Okay, just to remind yourself that they're the two things you need to do. So, you may or may not have heard of the term FOIL. Now this stands for first, outside, inside, last. Now, FOIL is a mnemonic, much like never eat shredded wheat for north, east, south, west. FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, last. But it's not a very fun one to remember. So there are lots of different ways that we can help our memory work together with us. And one of them is to make a fun mnemonic so that you're more likely to remember it. So, for example, everyone at school or at home as children, most of you will have played the game The Floor is Lava. So, we could have... Oh, that's going to be... Sorry about this, 2 seconds, there we go. We could have floor only is lava. Perfect. That's just one example of a mnemonic we could use. There's a million things we could do, and actually for homework I'd like you to come up with your own version of a mnemonic for this, and something that's fun, personal to you, something you're likely to remember. It might be favourite song lyrics, it might be favourite food, whatever it is that you're more likely to remember in the exam. But for now, floor only is lava is a good way of remembering it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get our pen and notice that the first letter is also F, which also stands for first. Now this means the first two terms of each bracket. For example, this one and this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect them together. So what we're going to do is just draw a line between these first two terms. So that's this one and this one. The second part of FOIL is outside, so that's the outside two terms of each bracket. So that is this one and this one on the two edges. So again, we're going to connect them together like this. Then you've got inside, so you need the two inside terms of each bracket, which is this one and this one, as they're on the two insides of each bracket. So we're going to draw another line to connect them there. And then you've got last, which is the last two terms of each bracket. So we're going to draw them there. Now, apologies for my bad drawing, but remind yourself of the image that I've shared on each slide. I will go over to show you again. For example, this image, and this image here. Now they're all parrots, and that is because this slightly resembles a parrot's beak. For example, if I draw badly, like this, and an eye here, you've got a cross between a parrot and a seagull. Apologies for my poor drawing, but you can see what we're going for. Now this is a really good way to visualise what you need to multiply together to expand out the bracket. It gives you logical order and a strategy to go through bit by bit, and you know to follow FOIL, whatever your mnemonic is. For now it's floor only is lava, as you draw each one, and then you can visually make sure that you're connecting the right term with the right term to multiply together. So we're going to try this together now. Here, so here's another reminder of our parrot. So we're going to do, if we write out FOIL here, we're going to do first. Now the first term we have is here, so that's x times by x, which we know. So x multiplied by x equals x squared. Outside, connect them together, you've got x times by minus 3. Now, as we know, and we are currently comfortable with, timesing a positive by a negative becomes a negative. So you have minus 3x. We've then got inside minus 7 times by x. Again, positive times by negative, so that equals minus 7x. And then you've got last. So that's minus 7 times by minus 3. Minus 7 times by minus 3, which equals minus 21. Therefore, we can write these into an equation. X squared minus 3x minus 7x minus 21. Now we simplify, which was the second part of our two-step question. Now we look for like terms in this situation. For example, we can see that we have no other like terms to x squared, so we can keep that on its own. Now we do have two terms which have x in it. No x squared, no x cubed, just x. Therefore we can simplify that. So minus 3x minus 7x. As we are minusing from a negative, we're going further away from the 0. So that is 10 minus 10x minus 21. And there is your answer. So that is full marks. You've expanded it by using our parrot beak method, and you've simplified it to give you your answer here. And there's your answer. So what is really important to do is to remember in the exam to write your FOIL next to each question with your mnemonic, if that's what's helped you remember it, and to follow each step so you can visually see where you've gone, the parrot beak method. Next lesson we'll be going over the grid method, which will be useful as we will also be using that to expand triple brackets. But for the homework, I'm just going to set you more double brackets, which I'd like you to show me your working out of your FOIL, and each term that relates to the first, outside, inside and last, your expansion of the brackets, and to simplify them. Great, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.